Hey everyone, I am going to do some reading from Jessica Aiken Hall's Confidentiality. Chapter 1. Outside of the church, I took Tim's hand and walked into the building. He gave it a tight squeeze before he opened the enormous mahogany door. I filled my lungs with fresh air before my black slides hit the stone entryway. The click of Tim's dress shoes echoed through the building as we followed the red carpet and found a seat in the pews. You doing all right? Tim's concern helped chase away some of the nausea. Yeah, I'm fine. I pushed up a fake smile as I crossed my ankles and straightened my black dress. The pounding of my heartbeat echoed in my head, drowning out the background noise. My attention was drawn to the woman with bleach blonde hair dabbing at her eyes in the front row. The silver casket was open and the outline of Jane's body was all I could focus on. Tim tapped my knee and whispered, "Do you think that's her mom?" "I don't know. She said she didn't have any family." I looked around the church as I saw a few people scattered around in different benches. "Do you think all these people knew her?" His whisper increased in volume with each word. A woman 2 rows in front of us turned and smiled. I recognized a familiar face as a nurse from the hospital. "I think so." A few more people arrived and found seats in the empty spaces. Seth was not one of them. That wasn't a big surprise, though. The priest walked to the front of the church and began the service. The thoughts circling my head washed out his words. The more I looked around, the more guilt ate at me. I hadn't considered these many people being affected by Jane's death before today. The woman in the front was the biggest surprise of all. Who was she, and why hadn't Jane mentioned her? The woman in question was welcomed to the front by the priest. "And now let us hear from Mrs. Brooks, Jane's mother." Her long, elegant black dress rested just above her designer high heels. A dainty black hat rested on her head, with a square of black lace covering her eyes, and a pair of long satin black gloves covered her hands and most of her arms. "Jane was a good girl. My heart is broken." She paused as she dabbed at her eyes with her white handkerchief. "A mother should never have to bury her child." She turned around to face Jane and wept. "I won't rest until I find the monster who did this to you." The priest put his arm around Mrs. Brooks and helped her back to her seat. Tim elbowed me in the side and raised his eyebrows. The room around me started to spin. I closed my eyes and held on to the seat in front of me. "Val, are you all right?" I swallowed to try to get moisture back in my mouth. "I just need some air." Tim took my hand and led me out of the building. The cool air hit my face and helped ground me. "Are you okay?" "Yeah, I'm fine. It's just a lot to take in. I can feel her pain, you know." "I get it. It's intense." He put his hand on my back and pulled me into him. "I had no idea she had a mom. I thought she was just a lost soul out on her own. So that means Carmen had a grandma." "Well, most people have moms." "Ha ha. But I'm serious. Did you know about Mrs. Brooks?" "No, I didn't know about her, and I did look for next of kin to notify." "And who was it? Who was her next of kin?" "Seth. He was the only one listed on any of her paperwork." Tim pulled me closer and hugged me. "Are you okay, Val? You're acting, well, I'm just worried about you." I pulled away from him. "How am I acting?" I crossed my arms as I waited for him to answer. "I'm just worried about you, that's all." He put his hands into his pockets of his dress slacks. "I'm fine." I turned my head as the door behind us opened. The priest held it as the guests left the building. Jennifer, the nurse from Lawrenceville Regional Hospital, stopped and put her hand on my arm. "So sad, isn't it? She was doing so good. We thought she was going to beat it." "Yeah, it's unfortunate. Addiction is unpredictable. You just never know." My body rose and fell under her hand. "She really admired you, Val. You should be proud of the work you did with her." The pity behind her smile stung as she walked down the stone stairs. I took Tim's hand and went down the stairs with the other guests. We stood under the tall maple tree, the sun shining down on us through the bare branches. The warmth of the sun on my face helped ease some of the uneasy feelings swimming inside of me. I closed my eyes and soaked up as much as I could. Sunshine in Vermont in March was a luxury. The clack of heels hitting the stone stairs jolted me out of the calm I had been channeling. Mrs. Brooks stopped in front of us. "I'm sorry for your loss, ma'am." Tim extended his hand to her. She stared back at him. "And who are you?" She peered at him through the lace of her hat. "I'm Detective Tim Phillips." "Oh, my, you're a handsome young man." She bit her bottom lip as her eyes undressed him. "Please, call me Ginger." Tim's cheeks darkened with her compliment. Well, Ginger, if there is anything we can help you with, please let us know." I forced a smile. "Yes, if there is anything at all." "And you are?" Ginger lifted her penciled-on eyebrows. "I'm Valerie. I worked with Jane in the hospital." "Oh, then you're both the people I need to speak with." She took off her long satin glove and pulled out her iPhone. "When will you be available?" Her eyes focused on the screen. "We have some time now if you're up for it." Tim squeezed my hand in his. "We could go grab a coffee or something." "I guess that would work. I'm headed back to Boston tomorrow, and I want this all squared away before that." "Well, Val and I will be glad to help in any way we can." "I don't think I want to go to a coffee shop around here." Ginger turned up her nose as she looked around. "How about we meet at your office?" "Yeah, sure. We can go back to the hospital." I looked up at Tim, who nodded his head in agreement. "I was thinking more of the lines of the detective's office." Ginger's focus went back to Tim. "Well, I think it would be best to go to the hospital. We'll have more room and privacy there." He ran his hand through his hair. "I guess that will do." Ginger slipped her phone back into her Louis Vuitton purse and pulled out her car keys. She hit the button and lights on a black BMW X5 ashed. "I'll follow you." Tim and I got into his Volkswagen Touareg to lead the way. "She seems to like you." "Oh, her? No, I don't." "Oh, please. She was practically in your pants out there." "Is someone jealous?" He gave me a smirk. "It's kind of cute, but you have nothing to worry about. You're the only woman for me." "I better be." I crossed my arms and squinted my eyes. "What do you think she wants?" "I don't know. I guess we'll find out soon." I turned on Tom Petty radio just as "You Don't Know How It Feels" started playing. I let Tom Petty's voice ease the turmoil in my head. The song ended as we pulled into the hospital parking lot. Ginger was right behind us. "Here we go." A sigh followed my words. "Val, relax. There's nothing to worry about. It's just a mother that's having a hard time with the loss of her child. You deal with this stuff all the time." "I know, but they are not all after my man." My joke left even me with a smile. Chapter 2. Inside the conference room, Ginger sat at the table with a manila folder in front of her. "Detective Phillips, you're the one who found her, aren't you?" "Yes, I was the first one to respond to the call." Tim cleared his throat. "And you did everything you could? You didn't delay treatment or—" "No, ma'am. It's Ginger. I'm not old enough to be called ma'am." "All right, Ginger. She was already gone when I arrived. I took her pulse, and she was—" Did you not attempt to give her CPR?" Ginger's eyes did not leave Tim. "No, ma'am. Ginger. I did not attempt CPR. She was already gone when I arrived." "How can you be sure? How do I know you didn't want her to die?" "Why would I want her to die? I would have attempted CPR if it would have been helpful, but she was gone when I arrived. When the ambulance arrived, the medic confirmed she had been gone for a while before I arrived." "How long did it take you to respond to the call?" Her eyes squinted. "I was there in less than 5 minutes. I got the call and got there as quick as I could." Tim sat up straight and leaned against the table. This must be difficult for you. I can't even imagine. Yes, I lost my baby girl and I want to make sure some monster didn't do this to her. I've got plenty of money if I need to find an attorney. I'm afraid Jane did this to herself. I've seen the report from the medical examiner and it looks like she overdosed. I know this is hard to wrap your head around. You know what's hard to wrap my head around? People tell me Jane was clean. She was getting her life together. For the first time in many years, she was taking care of herself. I don't believe she did this. I don't believe she would have used again. Ginger crossed her arms tight against her chest. Isn't that right, Vicky? It's Valerie, and I have seen many people relapse. It's not uncommon. And with Carmen's death, she had more reason than most to slip up. Do not speak that child's name again. Do you understand me? Ginger slammed her fist on the table. I'm here to talk about Jane, not her devil child. If she were still alive, I know she would have done this. She hated her mom, and she never talked to me. I'm sorry, I didn't know. I just know Jane was under a lot of stress. Her and Seth. Who's Seth? Jane's boyfriend. He was the one listed as her next of kin, Tim spoke up. When was the last time you spoke with Jane? What difference does it make? She's gone, and there is nothing that will bring her back. Her eyes locked on mine. Did you talk? She told me she didn't have any family after she lost Carm. I shook my head. Her daughter. Jane was a difficult child. She never listened to me, and she hated my husband. The devil child didn't like me either, so we didn't keep in touch like we should have. Her shoulders lifted with a deep sigh. But this isn't about me. This is about making sure my baby gets justice. What will justice look like to you? Tim took over the conversation. I want whoever did this to her to pay. Even if she was the one to put the drugs in her body, the scumbag who gave them to her should pay. I have money, and I won't rest until someone pays. I'm not sure how we would track down where she got the drugs. I don't believe anyone is going to come forward. Tim folded his hands in front of him. I have some ideas. Ginger turned to look at me. What exactly did you do with Jane? I've been working with her since she lost her daughter. She came to my support group. Support group? Ginger laughed. What on earth would she be doing at one of those things? She was getting support for the loss of her daughter. Were you the one responsible for her going away? Excuse me? My throat tightened. Going away to get clean? Were you the one who sent her there? No, that was the social worker she was working with during her treatments. I'm the one who got her to the doctor who discovered the infection. Infection? Yes, the infection from the dirty needle. Oh, I see. So she was just a dirty junkie to you. What? Where did you get that from? No. Val was committed to helping Jane. She went above and beyond. Don't you talk to her like that. Tim stood up, his face red. It's okay, Tim. She just needs to blame someone. Hello, I'm still sitting here. Ginger waved her hand. I'm well aware. I'm sorry you're grieving, but don't attack the one person who gave a shit about your daughter. Where were you when Jane needed you? You're one hell of a mother. Tim pushed the chair in and walked out of the room. I'm sorry, Ginger. That's not like him. Ginger stood up, put her purse over her forearm. Looks like I'll be needing an attorney after all. I stood up and blocked the door with my body. Please, sit down. I'll answer any questions you have. Please, just let me help you. Go get the social worker you spoke of. I want to know what she was thinking. I want to talk to everyone who last saw Jane. I need answers and I demand respect. Do you understand me? She hit her fist on the table. Yes, of course. I'll call down and see if Tiffin is available. I picked up the phone and placed the call to the med-surg unit. Hi, Tiff. This is Val. Can you come down to the conference room? Jane's mom is here and would like to talk with you. I focused on my breathing to push out any thoughts that lingered. There was no way this could be linked back to me. I was careful. I sat back down at the table next to Ginger. Her lips puckered and her arms crossed. So, How long have you lived in Boston? Since I married my husband. The attempted small talk softened their parents. I met him at a bar when he was up here on vacation. His offer was too good to refuse. Been living there ever since. I don't think I would make it in Boston. I like the quiet of Lawrenceville. Was it hard for you to adjust? No. I like living in the city. Jane didn't like it though. I guess she was like you. It was too busy for her. She wouldn't even come to visit.